We're going to start recording. All right, so hi everybody, welcome. Good almost afternoon in New York. I want to introduce myself. I am Leslie DiChiara. A little bit about myself very quickly. I am a former elementary school teacher for 14 years. I am currently in the role as an assistive technology and an instructional technology specialist in the same district that I taught in. So I love what I do. I'm happy to be there. I work in an incredible district. I am a certified Seesaw ambassador. And then a little shameless plug for myself. I do host an assistive technology blog, and you can also find me on Twitter. I do post on there as well and join in on the chats. So today, what we're going to be talking about is a little bit of an overview here of Seesaw. Now, Seesaw is a very all-encompassing platform to use. It's an incredible platform. My district right now is currently using Seesaw for remote instruction. We had used it, but more on the free version prior to remote learning. And at this point, we've now upgraded ourselves to the Seesaw schools, which we'll talk a little bit about what that means. So now all of our teachers, our related service providers, our special area teachers are all using Seesaw as a platform and a means to bridge that homeschool connection while we're on remote learning. We're going to talk about an intro, what is Seesaw, some of the tools that are built in, what it looks like as a student, and then I don't know if we'll have enough time to get through all of this, but I did post in here some activity ideas. So if you're walking away from this going like, how can I use this now? You know, this seems like a great tool, but where do I start? These classroom activity ideas, I put links in there, they have videos, and there's a little bit of a description. So if we do run out of time today, you'll be able to go back into the slideshow and the slide deck and look through it, and you can pull some of those ideas as well. And hopefully we'll try to leave enough time at the end for some questions too, just in case you have any. Okay, so what is Seesaw? So I'm going to play this little quick video.
I love when that light bulb, that aha moment happens. When they've been working really hard and all of a sudden that light bulb goes off and they just, that click of, oh, I get it now.
I'm looking for new ways to engage my students every single day. Seesaw, hands down, is the best thing that has ever happened to any of my third grade classrooms. Whether it's math, writing, social studies, in art class, in music class, it works for everything. There's so many different ways that a student can create.
They can take pictures, they can do drawing, they can record, and then have to go a step further and explain their thinking in a way that really cements the learning.
Seesaw helps me because it gives me that immediate feedback of how the kids are doing. It helps me find those misconceptions in their lesson and then the following day to reteach those concepts that were missed.
The Seesaw Activity Library is a go-to almost every single day. I love that I can get so many different ideas for activities that I could use right there in one spot. Students love Seesaw. They get very proud of their portfolio and they like to share it with other people.
I saw that. I was at work at a meeting and my little notification popped up. I use the Seesaw Family app both at home and at work. It really helps me give an insight of what Ava is doing, not only in class, but also the way that she's thinking and her process, and I think that's priceless.
I love how Seesaw really allows me to get to know my students on a deeper level. They don't always want to stand up or raise their hand to talk in class, but I feel like Seesaw really allows them to open up and shine.
So hopefully that just gave you a little bit of a quick overview of what Seesaw is and the feedback. And I have to say, I could have made that video myself because it's exactly how I feel about it. So Seesaw is a platform that's really intended to allow students to demonstrate and share their work. It is an online digital portfolio for students, and it helps to also bridge that gap between home and school. So whether we're in the traditional school setting where students are sitting in school and parents are at work or at home, or we're in this home learning environment right now, which is a little bit different, we're still able to make that connection. And I think that that is what makes this such an incredible platform to use. So as I explained earlier, Seesaw is free. It can work on any device. So literally, there's no limitation of how you can access this. The free version, as you can see in this first column here, is a little bit more limited in terms of what you can do, and we're going to talk about that activity library. My district, like I said, is using Seesaw Schools, which is the most upgraded version of it, and it has been essential in terms of the features that we have. We have our classroom teachers, and then our special area teachers, such as PE, music, library, art, are linked into each of the classrooms, and they're able to post their assignments in there as well. So the students only have to go to one classroom to access all of their assignments right now. And because we're on Seesaw Schools, we also have right here the school-wide activity library and also the activity sharing as well. So we have basically teachers are creating lessons within Seesaw, and they're able to share them amongst the community, and they can share them with their colleagues as well. So they could be shared via email, where there is a link to the activity, or they can post it into this community, which we're going to take a look at in a couple minutes. And in that community, you're able to then pull down somebody else's lesson, and you can either use it as is, or you can edit it, revise it, make changes to do whatever you can add to it. But it stops that whole piece of the reinvention of the wheel. And I know that that's a big concern for many, many teachers is, you know, this is overwhelming. You know, we're in a place now where we're using remote instruction where maybe we've used traditional materials in the classroom, or we've used other materials in other ways. Well, now we're at home instruction, and the materials are going to look a little bit different. So I have grade level colleagues who are saying, all right, listen, for the week, you're going to do math. And for this week, I'm going to do all the ELA, and we're going to share it in our, you know, Seesaw activity library. And then they're able to pull down the lessons and assign it. And they're not needing to, you know, do everything from scratch. And I think that that has been an essential piece of this in terms of the success and why it has worked so well. So those are what the different versions are. And of course, you can go on to Seesaw's website and explore that further. So we're going to talk a little bit about what Seesaw looks like from an educator. So I'm going to do a little bit of a demo with my Seesaw class. So I actually have a mock class that's here, but I do have my own children that I've been putting into Seesaw, especially my youngest is Dylan, and he's in kindergarten, and he's been getting activities, but the way that the format of the activities that are being sent home for him is a lot of it is printed and it's paper. And certainly paper and pencil have a place, but I'm finding, you know, that he's struggling with engagement. He's struggling with activities. And I've also tried to find extensions to the work that we're doing at home. So I've been creating a lot of activities for him. And you can see the last day he accessed it was yesterday. You can see the class feed is right here as well. So when you go into Seesaw, the first thing that you're going to see is the journal. And the journal is almost like a social media feed. So if I scroll through my journal, you can see, obviously a lot of it is Dylan because he's the one whose majority of the work is being produced by. But if I go to the top again, you can see there's Matthew, there's my other son. And you can see here where it says one unapproved post. So as students complete the assignments or the activities that are assigned to them, this is the area that will let the teacher know, like, oh, hey, you've got some work here sitting that needs to be reviewed by the student. And what's great about this is when you click that review button, you're able to go in. I could just simply hit the click button, or I could go in and actually, if I scroll up a little bit, you'll see I can like it. I could put a comment. So let me see if I can get this to go up again. I could put a comment here, and I can also record my voice, which for students right now, especially they're craving that connection to the classrooms, to their peers, to other people. I can record an audio comment in here as well. So the students are able to hear my voice. And if you feel that the work is not done to satisfaction, or maybe they need to make a small correction, you can always send it back for revision. And the student will get a notification. Theirs looks very similar to this in the inbox. And it will tell them exactly what they need to make the revision on, and then they can submit it back to you. So this is a great way to hold students still accountable and to be able to do, you know, the work the way that you feel and to your standards. If I click on the second tab here, this is the activities. So right now, these are activities that have already been assigned to my class, and you could see right here, this is the first one, and it says one response, waiting for teacher approval. If I click here, if I had multiple students complete this, you would see them. So this was an assignment, and I intentionally didn't approve it yet. But this is one that you can review right in here. So I could look at it and say, this is great. If it was a draft, it would have an orange bar that would say draft, or if it was completed, it would have no bar. It would just look like the solid document, and you can see all the students' names that are there. What's incredible about Seesaw and the activities is you have the ability to put all of these directions in here that you can see I'm highlighting, but it has all these little symbols and icons, which make it accessible for your students so that they are able to recognize, like, oh, first I have to go to the link to watch this video. Then once I'm done, I'm going to go into my add response and I'm going to record myself. Then I'm going to use the pen tool, and so on and so forth. And I also did an audio recording. Click the link to watch the video on the sight word little. Once done watching the video, click the microphone to record yourself saying the sight word. Next, use the glow pen to circle whenever you see the word little. Okay, so I'm going to pause that there because you get the idea. But you're able to go in and make these auditory directions or the audio directions, which is really such a great thing. You can see that in the Seesaw class, I can schedule assignments ahead of time. So this is an assignment that my son is going to be doing later this week. And it's set up in here as well, where he can go right into it. He can listen to the directions, and it's interactive as well. So we're going to talk about what those activities look like and how you can use them. So as a teacher, if I want to go in, I can click the add button. I can post student work, that just goes right to the journal. Or I can assign an activity. So posting student work would look more like if you're taking pictures of the work that the student's done and you want to post it so that it goes into their portfolio, that's where you would do that. Here, oh, let me just approve somebody else coming in. Here, we're going to click Assign Activity. Okay, and then my activities are going to start to show up here. So this is my activity library. This is my personal library here. These are activities that either I've created myself, or you could see other names underneath them. These were activities that I took from other people and I didn't revise them. This is actually one of my colleagues who I work with. She's a kindergarten teacher as well, and she pulled that in. And then I have my activities assigned into these collections. They're basically like folders. And what those folders do is it helps you to keep everything very organized so that you're able to go in. So if I say, oh, I want to go look at my foundations activities, there they all are. As I shared with you guys, when you're on the free version, you would have limited access in here. But on the Seesaw Schools version, I can click on school, and these are all activities that are shared by my fellow colleagues across my district. And right now, these are only activities that are assigned to 4th grade. I could click all, and it will show me everything that's there. I can specify it by grade level and break it down. So these are just different ways that you can go through the activity library and be able to assign them. Okay, and there's your community as well. And if I wanted to just create my own, and this is a great way as well, if you're in a certain grade level, you could pick the grade level, like 1st grade, and it gives you some activities to start. So if you're like, I have no idea where I'd want to start with this, this will give you 5 activities that teach you how to use some of the tools. So this is also a great place to start to for teachers that are feeling a little bit overwhelmed. If I go back and I go to add again and assign activity, I can also go in here and create a new activity from scratch. So I can go in here, I can add the title, I can add my directions here, and in the slideshow, you're going to see there's something called Seesaw Shortcuts. So what I do is I just go to the internet, I go to Seesaw Shortcuts, and then I just literally go to images and I pull it up. It's always like the first one right there. And I keep this either printed, or our teachers keep this just on the ready, because this helps to give you those little icons that you saw before in your directions. That's where these came from. So these are also really, really helpful for you to be able to go through and include them. So even last night, as I was adding some new assignments for my other son, I was looking through and I was like, oh wait, what's the mic? Oh yeah, that's right. That's what this one is. So you put your directions in here, you can add your voice instructions there. And then this is where you can put an example for students, or the worksheet or the activity that you want students to do. So if I click on this, you've got a variety of tools that you can choose from. Photo is your camera, drawing is a drawing tool, and we'll get into that in just a moment. This is where you'd upload a video. This is where you'd upload a link. So if you wanted a YouTube, you could use a YouTube video and even put it through Safety YouTube, I'm sorry. And that way it cleans up the video, and then it can be linked right in here for students to watch. Or if you want to link them to Nat Geo or another website, that's where you would put this. This is just a notepad. I find the teachers don't use this tool quite as much. And then this is the upload of documents. So it's important to note in Seesaw that when you're uploading, you either upload as an image file or you're going to upload as a PDF. As a PDF, you can only upload one PDF at a time, or you can upload a slideshow as a PDF. So if you wanted multiple pages to be uploaded, you would upload it as a slideshow, which can be done from PowerPoint, from Google Drive. You would create your slideshow, save it as a PDF, and then you would upload it. If you're uploading photos, a lot of our teachers are doing that they're taking screenshots of activities or worksheets that they needed to use. You can upload up to 10 photos in here. Another option in the drawing tools, which I love, is you have pages over here. So you can create as many pages as you need to. So you could see in the bottom right corner, I'm clicking add page. So I'm adding pages to this. So you could put with your camera, you could upload a photo and put the worksheet right into here. So that would be another example of how you could do this too. And then you could put multiple pages. These are some of the tools that are available, and this is all in the slides as well. So I know I'm modeling this for you, but if we go back to the slideshow, you'll get to see that there too. This right here is what they call a label. It's a text box where you're able to type right into it. You can click outside of it, and then these little 3 dots right here allow you to customize it. You could lock it so students don't move that, or you could unlock it, and then you're able to have students take this and they can move this around. So you could create like word boxes at the bottom where it's a drag and drop and so on and so forth. This is the record button. So this is where if you wanted to record yourself or students are recording themselves, the tools for teachers and students look identical. The only difference is that students can't add any of the assignments to it, but they can add the labels or the text boxes. They can record their voices. My kindergarten son does this all the time when we're doing the sight word of the week. He records himself saying the word or saying a sentence with the word. And then you've got your camera here, so you can take a photo or you can upload one. And then this little 3 dots right here is where you can add some shapes. So you can drag, whoops, there we go. You can put the shape in, you can size it however you need to. And then there's also backgrounds. So if you were looking for lined paper, if you were looking for primary paper, you know, these are also, if you were looking for grid paper, if you have students that have difficulty lining up or aligning math problems or equations, this is a great tool to use as well. So these are some options that are there. At the bottom is basically the tools that you're looking for annotation. So this is your select tool. You have a pen tool, and if you click on it twice, you're able to resize the size of your pen. So if you need to write, I'm just going to write, and pardon me doing this with the mouse. I can also make this thicker and thinner. I can change the color based on this sliding toolbar on the side. And the same thing goes. This is more of a marker, so it's a thicker line, a highlighter, and same thing again, you can change the sizing of it. So if you put a reading comprehension passage and ask students to highlight in different colors, maybe they're looking for the main idea, and then supporting details, they could do that in different colors in here. And then you've got this glow pen, which is always a favorite of the students. So they can write and it creates this outline. So this is great, you know, as another fun way for them to do their writing. And again, you can resize this so you can see the difference in what that looks like. You can change the colors again. And then there's your eraser tool too, so you can erase. The one feature that I find gets a little bit overlooked is up here in the top corner, which is the magnifying bar. And what this does is for students that are, actually, you know what, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna go into a different activity so you can see how this would work. So let me go out, give me a second. All the way, there we go. Okay, so if we had a student that needed to work in an assignment like this, so I'm just gonna go into here and edit it so that you could see what this would look like. Okay, so let's say I uploaded this worksheet and the students need to write in this, but this might be hard for some students to write in such a small space. You can hit the zoom button here and then enlarge and increase that workspace for them so that it's a little easier for them to be able to work in that area. So you can see the idea that it keeps zooming in. I had a lot of teachers when we first started using Seesaw for remote instruction sharing how students were writing with the pen tools, and it was very, very hard for the teachers to read because, you know, they're young and their handwriting isn't completely perfected. And so you could see now I wrote the word hello, but if I zoom out, that would be very challenging for some of our younger students to write so small. Yet when you're able to zoom in, you could write pretty small, you know, and I could even get even closer. So I could just make I'll make a tiny little smiley face here. And then you can see if I zoom out, look at how small that is. That would be very challenging for some of our students who have fine motor issues or who have difficulty, you know, writing just in general, or just emerging writers. So this is just another means for them to be able to do that. And you can see in this activity, we had this page here, and then we have this here as well. And what my son did was he used the text, and then we were doing this on the iPad and using the Seesaw app, and he was able to dictate using the built-in iOS dictation tool. So he was speaking right into the box, which was great. And he did his drawings in here too. Okay, so I think we've kind of covered some of these activities and what that looks like. I know we have not this, I mean, we could present for an hour on this. There's so much to be said about Seesaw, but hopefully that helps. The inbox too, you'll see if there's notifications. You could see here, this is my feed of all my notifications from my son and all his work or your class. And then you can also see here in messages that you can give student announcements. You can put videos that are linked in here as well. So, you know, hi class, I've missed you very much. I wanted to take a moment to tell you how very proud I am. This is just a way to touch in, and it's a great way to share it. And if you have families that are connected through the Family Seesaw app, this is, which I don't have any here clearly, but this is a way to connect with families as well, that you can send families announcements, and families are able to then communicate privately with you. There is no way to necessarily privately communicate with students, because the intention of Seesaw is to be using it in school together. But through the family app, they are able to do that. So I'm going to go back to this. So you can see we kind of went through the activity library, the inbox, the student portfolios. There's the feed of the student work, and you can see an example of comments that were being made down below. Okay, there again, we talked about these activities and browsing the activity library. These are just some examples of ways that you can also, you know, if you're unsure where to start, that's how you can get started. These are the Seesaw shortcuts. So I did put all of them. I added Zoom because if you search for the Seesaw shortcuts, the Zoom is not included. So we've asked Seesaw to update their sheet so that this is included, but I did put it here so that you guys have it as well. So we got creative. We've gone through some of the tools. I put this in here for you guys as well so that you can access if you're like, wow, she spoke really fast and there were a lot of tools to look through. Now you can kind of go back and be like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's what all of these do. And you have the ability to put a caption at the bottom of your activity. So that way, if there's specific directions you want for each page, you could do that as well. Or you could just do it with a label and you could put that on the page too. That's really up to you. So these activities allow you to do it one at a time. So these are just some examples of student work. We're going to run out of time, so I don't want to spend too much, but I do want to talk about that it's very easy for students to access Seesaw. You can either sign in through email if your district uses, you know, a Gmail account. They can scan it with a QR code that's generated through the teacher, or they can access it through a home learning code. So it's very easy for students to be able to access Seesaw. Make sure that the camera and mic are enabled. These, like I said, I put these in here for you guys so that you have some activity ideas. I tried to put some notes in here so you'd understand what it was that we were doing. So just starting off by taking pictures and posting it to the student journal is a great way to start using Seesaw when you're live with your students, or having students do the same thing, taking pictures of what they're doing and just posting it. You know, students can document their own learning and showing you how to do things, and they can record their so you can hear them. They can draw on photos, so they could show you their work as well. They can, again, record their voice and explaining. So if they did a drawing and they did their writing, they might be able to share, you know, which aligns to that writer's workshop that many schools are using. Sight word check-in. So I'm going to kind of just go through these quickly. Here's a way if you're working with students on fluency and you're trying to get some progress data monitoring, you can also do that and having students like read it and then assess it and have that as part of their portfolio. We did talk about that family app and keeping, you know, families connected to Seesaw. So the family app is a great way to go about doing that. Text can be translated into 55 languages, and you're able to then have a way to bridge that homeschool connection, especially while we're on remote learning. So this is just an easy way to get families connected. Seesaw itself is an amazing application. It allows for you to continue the learning outside of just the app. They are so supportive. They're constantly making updates and changes to their program. And there's so many ways to keep connected. So the first thing is they have the Seesaw Help Center. And as I shared earlier, in that Google Doc that's linked under where the Zoom link was on the big grid for today, you'll see that I put all of these hyperlinks in there. So if you want them to be easily accessed, you can do that. This, you could search anything regarding Seesaw and there will be, information that's provided. They are constantly offering free professional development webinars. They're all the time. And if you sign up and you can't make it, they do send you the recordings. So they call it PD in your PJs, which I love. I think that's adorable. And they do have a YouTube channel, which offers also really high quality and excellent videos that help to support using the tool. So if you're stuck and you're like, wait, how do I create an activity again? That's just what you would do. This is just a cute little infographic. We love Sylvia Duckworth. These are just some 10 reasons why, to use Seesaw. It's authentic feedback. It's a one-stop place for students to showcase their work. So I definitely recommend you guys taking a peek at that too. So I wanted to leave. I know we are a little bit over, but that's okay. If anybody wants to hang in here for a couple minutes and has questions for me, please feel free to ask them. I know that was a lot in a short amount of time, but hopefully you found that information helpful. Are there any questions? Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming today and joining my session. I hope that you found it helpful. If you were thinking about using Seesaw, maybe this is the way to do it. Start with that free version, check it out, see what it has to offer, and then go from there. And if it's something that you feel is helpful, then you can look into, upgrading your account to maybe one of the more full-featured accounts. But for starting, Seesaw class as a free program is a really great place to start. So I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day today to join me. And like I said, I hope you found today's session really helpful. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.